Good morning, future CPA. Naririnig niyo ba ako?
Opo.
Thank you. Ngayon, for today's session, i-continue natin yung partnership operation and financial reporting. So, yan. Then, financial statement, ito yung format records of financial activities and position of a business, person, or an entity. It is a structured representation with the objective providing about financial position, financial performance, and cash flow of an entity. The purpose of financial statement is to provide information about the financial position, financial performance, and cash flow of an entity that is useful to a wide range of users in making economic decisions. Number 2, financial statement also shows the result of management stewardship of the resources entrusted to it and to provide information about an entity's asset, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses, and other changes in equity and cash flow. The general purpose of the financial statement is that to give information about the result of operations, financial position, and cash flow of an organization. This information is used by the readers of financial statement para makagawa ng desisyon about sa allocation ng resources. Tapos sa overall consideration, meron yung fair presentation and compliance with IFRS, going concern, accrual basis of accounting, materiality and aggregation, offsetting, frequency of reporting and comparative information, consistency of presentation, identification of the financial statement. When we say fair representation and economic compliance with IFRS, representation is faithfully representing in the financial statement the effects of transaction and other events in accordance with the definition and recognition criteria set out in the conceptual framework. Sa compliance with the PFRS is presumed to result in the fairly presented financial statement. The meaning of fair presentation is explained requires the faithful representation of effects of transaction in accordance with the definition and recognition criteria set out in the framework. While sa going concern, financial statements are normally prepared on a going concern basis unless the entity has an intention to liquidate or has no other alternative to do so. The business will continue in operation existent for the foreseeable future. While accrual basis of accounting, all financial statements shall be prepared using the accrual basis of accounting except for the statement of cash flow. The accrual basis of accounting is the concept of recording revenues when earned and expense as incurred. The use of this approach also impacts the balance sheet, where receivables or payables may be recorded even in the absence of an associated cash receipt or cash payment respectively. Materiality and aggregation. Each material class of similar items is presented separately. The similar items are presented separately unless they are immaterial. Materiality and aggregation is to decide whether information is material, the nature, and the size of the item are evaluated together, and if the non-disclosure thereof could influence the economic decision of users taken on a basis of the financial statement. Tapos, it requires separate presentation of each material class of similar items and allows aggregation of non-material items. Wait, nag-move po ba? Nag-move. Wala. Wait lang. Yan, nag-move na po. Thank you. Doon na tayo sa offsetting. Asset and liabilities, or income and expense, are presented separately and are not offset unless required permitted by PFRS. Yan. In an offsetting position, a trader takes an equivalent but opposite position to reduce the net position to zero. The purpose of taking an offsetting position is to limit or eliminate liabilities. Frequency of reporting: a complete set of financial statement, including comparative information, should be presented at least annually. If this is not the case, then additional disclosure are required. Sa comparative information, unless permitted to do otherwise, information must be presented for the current and previous reporting period for the all amounts reported in financial statement. Consistency of presentation. Presentation and classification of items in financial statement is retained from one period to the next unless a change in presentation is required by PFRS or result in information that is reliable and more relevant. It requires that a company financial statement follow the same accounting principles, methods, practice, and procedures from one accounting period to the next. These allow the readers of the financial statement to make a meaningful comparison between years. Identification of the financial statement. Financial statements shall clearly identify and distinguish them from other information. Structure and contents of financial statement. Una sa lahat is the name of the reporting entity. Second, whether the financial statement are of the individual entity or group of entities. Tapos, the date. Information about the reporting period or the date of the end of the reporting period or the period covered by the set of financial statement or notes, the presentation currency, and the level of rounding use or the level of rounding use in presenting amounts in the financial statement. So ito yung example, which is the BDO Unibank INC Incorporated and subsidiaries, which is siya yung name of reporting entity natin. Statement of financial position, yun yung financial statement natin. December 31, 2020 and 2019, yun yung reporting period natin. And amounts in millions of Philippine pesos, yun yung level of rounding off and presentation of currency. Complete set of financial statement. Una sa lahat is the statement of financial position as at the end of the period. Pangalawa, a statement of financial performance for the period. Pangatlo, a statement of changes in equity for the period. Pang-apat, a statement of cash flow for the period. And pang-5, notes comprising a summary, significant accounting policies, and other explanatory information, and a statement of financial position as the beginning of the earliest comparative period when an entity applies an accounting policy respectively or makes a retrospective restatement of items in its financial statement or when it reclassify items in its financial position. Ayun, so statement of financial performance na tayo. So, ang nilalaman ng income statement of partnership ay katulad ng income statement ng nasa sole proprietorship. Maliban doon sa presentation ng division of profit or losses na makikita sa lower part. Ito yung example ng partial income statement, which is say profit na 300,000. Division of profit equal yung agreement ni Aguilar at ni Porras, which is 150,000 and 150,000. Kaya meron silang total na 300,000. Information to be presented. Nandun yung A, revenue, B, finance cost, finance. C, share of profit or loss of associate and joint ventures accounted for using the equity method. D, tax expense. E, a single amount comprising the total of the post-tax profit or loss of discounted operation and the tax post-gain or loss recognized on the measurement of fair value less cost to sale on the disposal of the asset or disposal group constituting the discontinued operation. F, profit or loss. G, each component of other financial performance classified by nature, excluding amount in H below. H, share of the other financial performance of associate and joint venture accounted for using the equity method. And I, total financial performance. So statement of changes in equity naman tayo. So ito yung example ng statement of changes in equity for partnership. Yan. Which is yung original investment. Tapos ito yung part ni Aguilar and the Porras. Information to be presented. A, total financial performance for the period showing separately the total amounts attributable to owners of the parents and to monitor interest. B, for each component of equity, the effects of retrospective restatement recognized in accordance with IAS Number A, accounting policies, changes in accounting estimate and errors. C, the amount of transaction with owners in their capacity as owners, showing separately contribution by the distribution to owners. And D, for each component of equity, a reconciliation between the carrying amount at the beginning and the end of the period separately disclosing each changes. Then, tapos yung mga components of equity na nabanggit ko is may example sila ng each class of examples are each class of contributed equity, the accumulated balance of each class of other comprehensive income and retained earnings, the amount of dividends recognized as distribution to owners during the period, and the related amounts per share shall be presented either in the statement of changes in equity or in notes. Statement of financial position. Wait. Ayun. There is no prescribed order or format in which items are to be presented. Line items that are sufficiently different in nature or function simply provide a warrant, a separate presentation in excuse me, in the statement of financial position. So, ito yung example ng statement of financial position. Ay, wait, wala pa lang. So, yung statement ng financial position is like sa sole proprietorship, but the owner's equity section shall be exhibit separately the capital balance of the partners. Meron yun sa example na na-discuss ni ate nyo. I hate that. Yung last. Yung page na yun. Ayun. Sa may page 417 ng book nyo na Basic Financial Accounting and Reporting 407. Yun yung example ng financial position for partnership. Ayan. Information to be presented sa ano? A. Property, plant, and equipment. B. Investment property. C. Intangible asset. D. Financial asset excluding amount show under EHI. E. Investment accounted for using the equity method. F. Biological asset. G. Inventories. H. Trade and other receivables. I. Cash and cash equivalents. J. The total of asset classified as held for the sale and asset included in disposal groups classified as held for sale in accordance with IFRS 5. K. Trade and other payables. L. Provisions. M. Financial liabilities excluding amount shown under K and L. And liabilities and asset for current tax as defined in IAS 12. O. Deferred tax liabilities and deferred tax assets as defined in IAS 12. P. Liabilities in disposal group classified as held for sale in accordance with IFRS 5. Q. Monitor interest presented within equity and are issued capital and preserve attributable to equity holders of the parents. According sa IS number 1, it does not prescribe the order or format in which an entity present items. Nakalist lang yung mga ito. Simply provides a list of items that are sufficient different in nature or function to warrant a separate presentation in the statement of financial position. Tapos, take note that an entity makes the judgment about whether to present additional items separately on the basis of an assessment of A. Nature and liquidity of asset. B. The function of asset within the entity. And C. The amount, nature, and timing of liabilities. So current and non-current asset and liabilities should be separately classified on the face of the financial position except when presentation based on liquidity provides more reliable and relevant information. An entity shall classify an asset as current asset when it satisfies any of the following criteria. Una, it expects to realize the asset, intends to sell or consume it in its normal operating cycle, or it holds the asset primarily for the purpose of trading, or pangatlo, it expects to realize the asset within 12 months after the end of the reporting period, or pang-apat, the asset is cash or cash equivalent as defined in IAS number 7. All other assets are non-current asset. Tapos, sa liability naman, it should be classified as current liability when it expected to be settled in the normal operating cycle. 2, it is held primarily for the purpose of trading. Or 3, it's due to be settled within 7 months after the end of the reporting period. Or 4, does not have an unconditional right to defer settlement of the liabilities or at least 12 months after the reporting period. All other liabilities should be classified as non-current asset. Then, yun lang. Thank you po. Yun. Any question po? Any question po? Thank you mga ading. May naintindihan po ba kayo? Pasensya na sa boses ko. Wala pa. Pero ginagawan para sa next discussion po. Wala kayong question mga ading. Naintindihan niyo po ba yung discussion ko? Uy, heart naman kayo, guys. Heart naman po kayo kung nandyan pa po kayo. Nandiyan pa sila. Sana all din nag-iwan. Ayun, guys, may tanong daw. May tanong ako. Anong napansin niyo na difference between sole proprietorship, yung FS na sole proprietor at ng partnership? And, ayun, sagot mo na parang. You can use the chat box or you can unmute, guys. Miss. Ayun, Mr. Briones, David, can you unmute the mic?
Ano yung tanong?
Ano yung napansin mong difference between FS ng sole proprietor at ng partnership po?
FS ng
Sole.
Sole.
Opo, ng
Alam ko po sa Sole, isa lang po siya. Tapos yung sa partnership, 2 or more po silang nag
Thank you. Then, that's the moment. Ayan, so sa inyong apat, ano yung mahirap nyong parang gawin? Yung sa sole proprietor ba or sa partnership? You can admit. Miss Fernandez, tag-isa na lang po kayo. Ayan. Ayan, kay Miss Charlene, anong mas mahirap for you na gawin?
Ano po, saan po? Between dun sa soul and partnership po.
Opo.
Mas mahirap po yung partnership kasi may hiwalay po silang capital accounts.
Tama. Doon din kami. Partnership po, pa-partner ka pa, iwan ka lang din. Tapos pagdating sa profit and share, ikaw pa may loss. Char. Tama. Kay Trina naman, anong mas mahirap sa'yo, for you?
Hello po. So for me po, partnership. The same po kay Charlene. Kasi po, magkakahiwalay po yung capitals per partner po.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks
mahirap.
Thank you sa inyong dalawa. Si Miss Igama, baka may tanong ka din sa report mo po sa kanila.
Wala na po, ma'am.
Sa ating mga ate, baka po may tanong kayo sa kanila. Baka may tanong po kayo mga ate sa kanila po.
Pero saan na-merge na ba yung yung operating na record?
Oh.
Na-merge na.
Na-merge na.
Kasi, nasa operating na ba kayo na topic for the freshman? Anyone can unmute. Nasa operating na ba kayo? Yung may profit sharing na ganun. Merong bonus, salary, interest. Anyone?
Yes po.
Ayun. So, andun na kayo. Meron kasing, if I'm not mistaken, si Charlene lang yung naka-attend last meeting. And ang pinaka-crucial kasi na topic ng ng partnership is yung sa operation, yung profit sharing, ganun, yung loss and profit sharing, ganun. So, paano siya hahatiin? By capital ba? By agreement ba? Ganun. So, if ever na kailangan nyo ng additional na na discussion, ganun, pwede nyo namang hingin yung record for last time sa mga hindi naka-attend. So, pwede namang i-upload yung video tapos i-share sa inyo. Pero if wala ka ng storage, pwede i-upload mo na lang yung sa YouTube, i-download ko na lang, tapos ilagay ko sa drive. Ako na mag-upload. Ayun, so, share na lang. Ayun, yun lang yung sasabihin ko. Anyway, any questions pa, other? If wala nang questions and wala na rin question yung in charge for the discussion today. Pwede na tayong mag-dismiss ng maaga, I think. And, ayun. Can we all please open our cameras now for documentation? By the way, for next meeting, meron ulit tayong parang session ng question and answer. Ayun, parang gano'n din sa previous, di ba? Parang ang routine kasi natin, discussion, and then yung parang illustrations or mga set ng problems, ganun, for review. Ayun, so for the others, can we all please, open our cameras na? For 3 na, ito yung, yung camera. Meron pa rin bang, sa camera? Hindi ka ba makakapag... sige. Okay, so Rosa, if you could document na for photo op.
Sige. So, smell na. Wait. Oh, sige.
Okay na ba, Rosa?
Wait. No, internet. Wait. Yun. Wait lang. Smile naman. One, two, three. Okay na.
Ayun. So, thank you sa mga freshmen. Very complete tayo ngayon. And thank you for interacting, participating today. Ayun, na-review lang. Kaya niyo yan. Kaya niyo yan. Ayun lang. And wala na akong ibang sasabihin. Also, since si Ate Lira nyo is known for her quotations and ending remarks, you can now take the stage and end this meeting, Lira. Wala na. Okay, ayun. Since wala na, so early dismissal. Thank you again. Good morning and God bless future CPAs. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.